Hey, welcome back to Java with Jeff this week. It's 2022, can you believe it? I have my beverage with me, my coffee. I've got my Bible with me, and I want to tune in with you today and think through a very specific thing as you head into this new year. Some people set New Year's resolutions. Some people set goals or expectations for themselves when they head into this new year. And if you're a follower of Jesus, I'm sure that part of those expectations, goals that you might set for yourself have to do with a daily devotional time with Jesus. And no doubt what's part of that is probably prayer, talking to Him, and Bible reading and study. And those are really, really good things. But here's what I want to talk about with you today is what happens during that devotional time with Jesus. What happens? I don't mean the things that you set up, whether you journal or Bible read or prayer. I mean, as you're reading the Bible and you're in your devotional time, what happens? What happens for me is I sometimes start, if I'm just being 100% honest, and I don't always want to do a daily time with Jesus, I start to read about God. In the middle of that, this mysterious, supernatural, wild, spiritual thing happens. And all of a sudden I realize I'm not just reading about God, I'm spending time with God. It makes all the difference in the world. I'm no longer spending time reading about all this historical facts that happen in history in the land of Israel or with the leaders of Israel or with the disciples and Jesus. I'm now realizing that I'm actually spending time with Jesus. Changes everything. It softens my heart, it opens my mind up to what the Holy Spirit wants to do in my life. And that's why Jesus came, to be with you, Emmanuel with us. We learned about that and we're reminded of it around Christmas. Jesus wants to be with you in 2022. And so when you're spending your devotional time with Jesus, have a perspective change where you realize that you're not just reading about God, you're spending time with God. Think about this. I was reminded recently in John chapter 15 when Jesus is in the upper room with the disciples and he's talking about these things, and he uses the metaphor of a vine and branches. He wants us to be that connected to him like a vine is to branches. And in the middle of that conversation he says these words to his disciples and to you and I. You are my friends if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends. For everything that I have learned from my Father, I have made known to you. John chapter 15, verses 14 and 15. Jesus calls us friends. Stop and think about that for just a minute. The creator and sustainer of the whole universe, the one who hung stars in place, the one who invented DNA and water, the one who made plants be able to grow because of all the circumstances with light and water and air, the one who made animals and humans, that one wants to spend time with you. So when you're doing your devotional time in 2022, shift your mindset to not just learning about God, but spend time with God. I'm going to do it. I'm going to be more proactive about that shift in my thinking so that I realize that I'm actually spending time with God as I'm reading about Him. And I hope it changes your life and it causes you to want to live on mission and obey Him and submit to Him and surrender to Him. And that's my prayer for me. I hope it's my prayer for you, and I hope that's true for you as well as you head into this new year. Hope that's encouraging to you. We'll see you next week.